Some discoveries just refuse to make sense. They show up where they shouldn't, defy logic, and leave experts grasping for explanations. Some of these finds hint at lost civilizations, others fuel wild theories about aliens, time travel, or technology beyond our tiny understanding. So, let us join as we delve into 15 strange objects found that can't be explained by any alive being on Earth. Let's start off with number 15. Neolithic stone balls. The elaborately carved stone balls of Neolithic Scotland remain one of archaeology's most enduring mysteries. Dating back to 3,200 to 2,500 BC, over 425 of these objects have been found, each roughly the size of a cricket ball. Made from various stones, they feature intricate carvings, some with raised circular discs, others with deep grooves, knobs or spirals reminiscent of Neolithic pottery and monumental stones. These artifacts turn up in burials and settlements, but they rarely match each other exactly. Most are found alone, suggesting they weren't part of a set. Many show signs of heavy handling, hinting at regular use. But for what purpose? Theories abound. Were they weapons, tools for measuring or weaving, symbols of status, or even ball bearings for moving megaliths? Since many were found without proper excavation records, their original context is largely unknown. Despite centuries of speculation, the true purpose of these beautifully crafted stone spheres remains as enigmatic as the people who made them. Number 14. Roman dodecahedra. Roman dodecahedra, bronze, 12-sided objects dating from the 1st to 4th century AD, continue to puzzle archaeologists. Around 130 have been found, scattered across the former Roman Empire's northwestern provinces. Each is finely crafted from copper alloy, yet no two are exactly alike, and their function remains unknown. They don't appear in ancient texts or art, and they show little to no wear, making it difficult to determine their purpose. Some theorists claim they were knitting aids, used for making gloves. Others suggest they were military rangefinders, religious objects, or even early dice for a now-forgotten game. While they remain a source of speculation, archaeologists lean toward ritual or social significance rather than practical use. Unlike everyday Roman tools, which tend to be uniform and functional, dodecahedra appear intentionally unique. Whatever their role, these geometric artifacts continue to intrigue both scholars and enthusiasts alike, proving that even the Romans had their share of unsolved mysteries. Number 13. Neolithic chalk drums. In 1889, 3 cylindrical chalk artifacts were discovered in a child's grave in Folkestone, North Yorkshire. Decorated with intricate geometric patterns and what appear to be stylized facial features, these Folkestone chalk drums defy easy explanation. Later discoveries in West Sussex, 1993, and East Yorkshire, 2015, unearthed similar drums, reinforcing their significance. The most ornate, the Burton Agnes drum, was buried alongside a chalk ball, a bone pin, and the remains of 3 children, one of whom lived between 3005 and 2890 BC. The carvings resemble those found on Neolithic stone balls, suggesting a shared artistic or cultural tradition. Despite their name, these objects weren't musical instruments. Some scholars suggest they represent standardized measurements, possibly tied to the long foot unit of measurement. Others believe they were symbolic versions of perishable containers, like lidded jars or baskets. Their presence in children's burials hints at a deeper, more sensitive meaning, perhaps linked to spiritual or funerary practices lost to time. Number 12. Bronze Age, lock rings. The late Bronze Age saw a golden age of intricate metalwork, and among its most puzzling creations are the small open-ended gold rings known as lock rings. Found in Ireland, Britain, and parts of France, these delicate ornaments vary in design, some plain, others etched with fine geometric patterns. They're often discovered in matching pairs, suggesting they were worn as jewelry, but by whom and in what manner remains unclear. Were they earrings, nose rings, hair ornaments? Each theory has its flaws. Their shape makes them impractical as earrings, and their size and weight suggest they wouldn't stay securely in hair. Without clear depictions in art or burials, archaeologists are left guessing. Some believe they were purely decorative, while others suggest they had ritual significance. Until a lock ring is found in an undisputed context, like the recent Turkish burials featuring facial jewelry, this Bronze Age fashion will remain an unsolved riddle. Number 11. Romano-British cosmetic grinders. Among the most unusual personal items from Roman Britain are small, two-part copper alloy cosmetic grinders. Each set consists of a mortar, a curved, grooved receptacle, and a pestle, either a rod or a rocker-shaped tool, often decorated with animal or human figures. Some even feature phallic imagery, hinting at possible fertility associations. Unlike similar items found across the Roman world, these grinders are uniquely British, rarely appearing elsewhere in the empire. Use-wear analysis suggests they were actively used, but for what? Theories range from medicine and aphrodisiacs to cosmetics and narcotics. Despite extensive research, no traces of their original contents have been successfully identified. The mystery here isn't their function. We know they were used for grinding, but rather what they were grinding. Without preserved samples, the true nature of these curious objects remains a guessing game. Until an uncleaned mortar is found with its ancient residue intact, the full story will stay just out of reach. Number 10. Dendera light. One of Egypt's most controversial reliefs sits in the temple complex of Dendera. It depicts two figures holding what appear to be crux tubes, vacuum-sealed containers that carry electricity. Ancient alien enthusiasts claim this is proof that Egyptians had electric lighting, pointing out that no soot from torches has been found in the temple's labyrinths. Spoiler, there is soot, plenty of it. The real issue? A complete misunderstanding of Egyptian religious symbolism. The relief actually represents the creation of the universe, not an electrical device. The lotus flower, a key symbol in Egyptian mythology, was believed to be the first thing to emerge from the primordial waters. From it came Atum, the god of creation, depicted as a snake. The bulb is actually the universe itself, enclosed in a bubble of air. The upraised figure? That's Nun, the god of the primordial waters, lifting creation from chaos. No light bulbs, no secret ancient technology, just good old-fashioned mythology misinterpreted. Number 9. Baghdad Battery. In the 1930s, archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig unearthed a strange clay jar in Baghdad. Inside was a copper cylinder with an iron rod sealed with asphalt. Koenig noted that if an acidic liquid like vinegar or wine were added, it could generate a small electric charge. Was this an ancient battery? And if so, what was it used for? Initially dated to the Parthian period, 250 BC 225 AD, and later reassessed as Sassanid, AD 250-650, theories suggested it might have been used for electroplating. But here's the catch. No electroplated artifacts or wires have been found from this period. And while experiments showed the jar could produce a tiny voltage, it wasn't nearly enough to be useful. More likely, the jar was a simple storage vessel for scrolls. The acidic residue inside? Probably just remnants of decomposed papyrus. While fun to imagine ancient Mesopotamians with rudimentary batteries, there's no real evidence to support the idea. Number 8. Piri Reis Map. In 1513, Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis compiled a remarkably detailed map, sparking one of history's biggest cartographic mysteries. It appears to show Antarctica, without ice, despite the fact that the continent wasn't officially discovered until 1820. Some claim this is proof of advanced ancient knowledge, possibly even obtained from extraterrestrials. But if this was a message from the stars, it wasn't a very good one. Piri Reis himself listed his sources, a mix of Ptolemaic maps, Portuguese charts, Arabic maps, and one allegedly from Columbus. His depictions of the Americas are highly inaccurate, missing key islands while including mythical ones like Antilia. As for Antarctica, it's more likely a misinterpretation of Terra Australis Incognita, a hypothesized southern landmass that mapmakers of the time believed must exist to balance the northern hemisphere. What the Piri Reis map does prove is that the Ottoman Empire had highly skilled navigators, just not intergalactic ones. Number 7. Dog figurines. The dog are some of the strangest artifacts from Japan's Jomon period, 14,000 to 400 BC. These humanoid clay figures, ranging from 4 to 12 inches tall, feature exaggerated features, huge eyes, elongated heads, and elaborate body decorations. Some believe they depict ancient astronauts, complete with helmets, goggles, and spacesuits. But look closer, and the story changes. Many dog emphasize wide hips and breasts, much like prehistoric fertility statues found in Europe. They were likely used in rituals related to childbirth, healing, or even burial. Their goggles resemble Inuit snow goggles, designed to reduce glare rather than high-tech alien visors. While we may never know their exact purpose, one thing is certain: they weren't space travelers. The Jomon people were skilled potters, but they weren't sculpting visitors from another world. Dog likely served religious or social functions rather than being the ancient equivalent of sci-fi action figures. Number 6. Quimbaya airplanes. A collection of gold figurines dating back to 500 BC to 600 AD turns up in Colombia. Most are what you'd expect: tiny birds, fish, and insects. But then there are the odd ones: trinkets with delta wings, upright tails, and an overall shape that looks suspiciously like modern airplanes. Naturally, ancient alien enthusiasts lose their minds. This is it! Proof that aliens taught ancient people how to fly! Not so fast. The Quimbaya people were known for their stylized art, exaggerating features and playing with proportions rather than aiming for realism. The so-called fighter jets have eyes, teeth, and other animalistic details, things you don't typically see on a Boeing 747. And here's the kicker. When alien theorists tried to prove these were working aircraft, they had to modify the design just to make them fly. Meaning, the originals? Not aerodynamic at all. So, were the Quimbaya dropping hints about lost technology, or just crafting cool-looking golden animals? Odds are, it's the latter. Number 5. The Tamil Bell. If this bell could talk, it would probably say, "I am not a cooking pot." But for generations, that's exactly how the Maori in New Zealand used it. Until one day, someone noticed the intricate inscriptions covering its surface, Tamil script, linking it to South India. Suddenly, this wasn't just any old kitchen utensil. So how did it end up in New Zealand? Theories range from Portuguese explorers acquiring it from Tamil traders and dropping it off, to the mind-blowing idea that Tamil seafarers themselves reached the Pacific centuries before history gives them credit. The bell's presence suggests a possible pre-European trade network no one expected. Today, the Tamil bell sits in New Zealand's National Museum, permanently retired from kitchen duty. But it still refuses to explain itself. Was it a relic of an ancient trade route, a lost civilization's artifact, or just history's most misplaced souvenir? Well, your guess is as good as anyone's. Number 4. The Nebra Sky Disk. At first glance, the Nebra Sky Disk looks like something a modern artist might have whipped up. A 12-inch bronze plate inlaid with gold symbols depicting the night sky. But here's the twist. This ancient artifact is over 3,600 years old, and its design, way ahead of its time. Archaeologists believe it belonged to the Bronze Age Unexplained culture, but its level of astronomical accuracy doesn't match anything they were supposedly capable of. Even weirder, the materials used to make it came from all over Europe. Gold from the Carpathians, copper from the Alps, and tin from Cornwall. How did a single artifact bring together resources from such distant places? The disc was found by looters in 1999 and later handed over to researchers, who are still debating its true purpose. Was it an ancient star map, or just a religious object that accidentally got a few things right? Whatever the case, it's the oldest known depiction of the cosmos, and it raises more questions than answers. Number 3. Baghdad Map. A medieval Islamic map allegedly shows Antarctica's coastline, centuries before it was officially discovered. If true, it would mean someone charted the frozen continent long before modern explorers knew it existed. But how? Theories abound. Some believe ancient civilizations had advanced seafaring knowledge that has since been lost. Others suggest the map was based on older, forgotten sources, possibly Phoenician or Greek navigational charts. The wildest theory? That someone in the medieval Islamic world had access to knowledge we can't even begin to explain. Of course, skeptics argue the map's resemblance to Antarctica is just wishful thinking, an accidental likeness that people are reading too much into. But if medieval cartographers did somehow obtain detailed geographical data centuries ahead of their time, it raises a bigger question. How much of our history has been erased or overlooked? Until we find concrete proof, the Baghdad map remains a tantalizing, frustrating, and history-defying enigma. Number 2. Kerala Temple Pillars. Deep in the ancient temples of Kerala, India, there are stone pillars that sing. Strike them, and they produce distinct musical notes. No wires, no hidden chambers, just solid rock that somehow acts like an instrument. Modern scientists have thrown everything at this mystery: sound wave analysis, material testing, and even attempts to recreate the effect. But the truth remains elusive. How did ancient artisans carve these with such precision? What knowledge did they have that we don't? Some theorists point to lost metallurgical techniques, while others believe it's an acoustic trick lost to time. Even with today's technology, replicating these musical stones is no easy feat. Were they used for religious rituals, entertainment, or something stranger, perhaps a forgotten form of vibrational energy manipulation? Whatever their purpose, one thing is clear. The people who built them understood sound in ways we're still struggling to comprehend. Number 1. Saqqara bird. This bird is a small wooden artifact dug up in 1898 from an Egyptian tomb in Saqqara. It dates back roughly 2,000 years, and mainstream historians believe it was either a child's toy, a ritual object, or maybe an ancient weather vane. However, some theorists have a wilder take, pointing out that its aerodynamic shape resembles a modern glider. Could it be proof that ancient Egyptians understood flight? One of the biggest advocates of this idea, Dr. Khalil Masiha, highlighted its wing structure and subtle dihedral angle, both of which enhance stability in flight. He even built a replica and, with the addition of a tailplane, which the original lacks, managed to get it to glide short distances. But that's the issue: the missing tailplane. There's no evidence the original ever had one, meaning if the Saqqara bird was meant to fly, it probably crashed just as often as it soared. Was it a primitive model of an aircraft or just a decorative bird? We'll never know for sure. If you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. We'll see you soon.